What's going on, man? It's your boy, Jay Holley, and we are back with another episode of Unfiltered with Jesse Holley, episode 102. Thank you. You're far too kind. You could have been anywhere in the world, but I am so glad that you are here with me. I am Jesse Holley, the sports talk equivalent of Braille. People feel me when I speak. You know what you got to do, man. Hit the like, subscribe button. Tell a friend to tell a friend that we are here. You can find us on Apple, on Spotify, on YouTube. Of course, follow us on Instagram, on Facebook. Follow me on Twitter at Mr. Fourth and Long. Make sure you in the rotation in this. And I shoot each and every week here at Playmakers 88 Sports Bar and Lounge. Come on down here, man. In the colony off of Highway 121. Get you some good food, some good beverages. Right now, they have a special going on. $5.88 pints. Get it? 5 Super Bowls, 88. You get it all weekend, all week from 3 to 7 p.m. So come on down, get you a pint of Dos Equis for $5.88. I'm not going to have none, so that means that is more for you. That's the Playmaker Sports Bar and Lounge in the colony off of Highway 121, right, I don't know if you say behind or in front of Top Golf. If you see the nets for Top Golf, just look down. You're going to see a big blue building. That's Playmakers. And you never know. I'm sitting in the Playmakers office. Every now and again, the Playmaker might be here. You never know. The wings are slamming. He specifically comes here. I mean, it is his restaurant, but he specifically comes here for those wings. Our dude, Peter, man, he makes them. So come down, check them out. Have yourself a Dos Equis. And the scenery is nice, too. It's nice. Scenery is nice in here. If you know what I mean, you know what I mean. You guys know how I like to get down. I like to give my motivation at the beginning because let's be honest, a lot of you aren't going to be here at the end, and that's okay. I'm not for everybody. But before you go, 102 episodes will be out by the time that you see this. Find one. Give it 15-minute listen time. If you don't like it, don't go away. Find another episode. I told you 102 of these. Find one until you like it and then share it. If you got something out of that episode, share it with someone. If nothing else but the word of the episode, if that helped you, then share that part as well. Put it in the group text, the church text, the girl chat, the boys chat, all of the group chats. Put it in there and make me a part of your everyday listening or watching. Depends on how you want to get down. I do have a face for TV and I have a voice for radio and pod. So if you want to listen to me in your ears, that's fine as well. I'm good to look at. I'm great to listen to. All right, here is the word of the day right here. I think this is going to be a good one. I think this is some people, y'all going to feel this one. Create time for enjoyment because time for pain creates it itself. Create time for enjoyment because time for pain creates it itself. Pain gonna come whether you want it to or not. The nonsense gonna come whether you want it or not. Some sort of bull crap is gonna come whether you want it to or not. It's gonna create its own time in your life. Whether that mean the car breaking down, the water hose then broke, a pipe is leaking, the AC ain't working in the middle of the summertime, pain is going to create its own time in your life. You're not going to create the room for it. Now, some of us may make the mistake of welcoming pain in there, but people don't welcome pain in their life. It disrespectfully intrudes on your life. It's going to create its own lane in your life. So it behooves you to go ahead and create a lane for some enjoyment, for some pleasure, for something that makes you happy. Because this life, whether we know it or not, because none of us knows the end time, is short. So you better have moments where you purposefully create moments of enjoyment because none of us are promised tomorrow and some sort of pain or BS or nonsense could be lurking around the corner. So when you have moments of time to put those moments of enjoyment in your life, make time for them. Make time for you. Make time for the things that you enjoy, whether that's personally, whether that's with family, that's with a relationship, that's with friends, whatever that looks like in your life, make time for that. Because when pain decides to make time in your life, it ain't asking when you're available. It's not. It's not asking if you free this week for me to come in here and give you some of this nonsense. It isn't. It's going to barge right in, whether you got clothes on or not, whether you brushed your teeth or not, whether you having a good hair day or not. Pain and all the rest of that junk is going to barge right in and say, hey, I'm here. I've made time today. So you got to do a better job of making time for the thing that you enjoy in life. All right, man, let's get right to this. A melancholy goodbye. Tyron Smith, 13-year vet, 12-year Dallas Cowboy, decided, I'm hanging the cleats up. This is the second offensive lineman the Cowboys have had retire this year. Of course, a couple of weeks ago, the other one being Zach Martin. Both of these guys, I believe, will be Hall of Famers. I believe that wholeheartedly. Will there be first ballot? I think Zach will be first ballot. Don't know if Tyron's going to be first ballot. I'm not saying he's not worthy of consideration. I just think because they're both now on the clock. If neither one of them go back and plays football, they're both on the clock to 5 years. 5 years, if you don't know, 5 years after you retire and or stop playing is when you're now eligible to enter the Hall of Fame. I think Zach had more of a flawless career. I think he definitely had more first-team All-Pros. Zach was considered better at his position longer. Left tackle definitely gets the star treatment because it's the left tackle. But Zach, I think his longevity and how he did it lasts a little bit longer than Tyron Smith. And then you look at the case where if they both will be eligible for the Hall of Fame in 5 years, I highly, 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 highly doubt, one, that they're putting in two Dallas Cowboys in the same Hall of Fame class. Two, for whatever reason, and I think that we should, if there was a way that I could change voting rules in all sports, baseball, basketball, whatever, I think that we need to churn the voters over. Like the same guys who are 97,000 years old, they shouldn't always be on the committee. Like they should have a shelf life, and we should get more fresh blood in there, younger fresh blood in there, because a lot of these guys, this is why we have the backlog. Because we're getting to a place where guys who should have been in a long time ago hadn't got in for whatever personal reasons or whatever guys were feeling, they didn't get in. And so we have this backlog on players and getting them into the Hall of Fame. That's why I do believe what Deion Sanders said, that there should be two different halls. There should be the halls of the no-doubters, right? Your Lawrence Taylors, no doubters. Jerry Rice's, no doubters. Tom Brady, no doubters. Deion Sanders, no doubters. Michael Irvin, like the no-doubters. I'm going to take that back. I don't know if Michael's a no-doubter. I'm just going to. Emmitt Smith, no doubter. I'm just saying. I love Mike. I don't know if Mike is a no-doubter. Sorry, Mike. But I don't know if Mike belongs in that tier with Deion and Emmitt and those guys. I think he belongs in there. I don't know if he's a no-doubter. But the backlog is there. So we'll see. But Tyron Smith retired, and he, sadly, Tyron falls into that long list of Dallas Cowboys in the last 30 years who had a stellar career, had a Hall of Fame career, but have nothing to show for it. No real playoff wins, no deep playoff runs, no Super Bowls, nothing. And Tyron was a part of one of the greatest NFL lines in NFL history. When we talk about what he was and Zach Martin and Travis Frederick and guys like Ron Leary and Doug Free, like they ran the league. They were the creme de la creme of the league in the offensive line for maybe a 3 to 5 year run where they're the best offensive line in football. Zeke ran roughshod all over right? DeMarco Murray ran behind lines that Tyron Smith was on. And so, like, there are runners that have come through this league that have been rushing champions because they were running behind guys like Tyron Smith. And at the end of it all, we talk about the personal accolades, but the ones that matter and the ones that will really kind of get you into that first ballot Hall of Fame type situation is the Super Bowls, the playoff runs, things of that nature. And Tyron goes now on that list. Zach now goes on that list of Dallas Cowboys players that played on teams that did not live up to expectations when it comes to winning the big games. And it's an unfortunate thing to be lumped into, but such is life, and that is the life of what Tyron Smith lived. And I was fortunate enough to be teammates with Tyron Smith. And let me tell you, the thing I love about the National Football League and my time in it, I spent 5 years in the National Football League, but my time was there was two things. One, you see some of the freakiest human beings ever made. Like, you're going to see some of the fastest, some of the strongest human beings, the biggest human specimens that you've ever seen. Like, people who look like someone created them in a lab right next to where they made Wolverine at. Like, that is legit. And then you see some of those freak human beings do some of the most freakishly athletic things on the football field, whether that be catches or runs or blocks or tackles or whatever it is. You see that. And Tyron Smith was a combination of both of those things. 6'7", 6'8", however big he was, 330 pounds. And he had a body at 330 plus pounds that looked better than a wide receiver's body. I'm talking about abs, shredded. Like, the body fat on this dude was insane. I've never seen it before. You think offensive lineman, you think fat, sloppy, gut, breathing hard, food on their shirt. Like, you think that kind of stuff when you talk about offensive linemen. Not Tyron Smith. Had some of the biggest hands that you've ever seen. I have really, really, really big hands. Tyron made my hands look little. You saw Tyron Smith at the end of his career start wearing like the elbow brace, right? Those big elbow braces. Those weren't elbow braces. Those were knee braces that people would wear on their legs. That's how big his arms were. That they did not make elbow braces big enough to fit on his arms. So they had to take knee braces that go on other human beings' legs to fit on his arms. So just Google a picture of Tyron Smith. Those are knee braces on his arms. They work the same, but that just goes to show you that the size of a human being that this dude was. And I can remember when he came into the league, at that time, DeMarcus Ware was a teammate of ours, of mine, of Tyron's. And this is DeMarcus Ware in his prime. This is D. Ware. This is the sack master. This is one of the most feared defensive rush ends in the league. Fast, strong, physical. I mean, and to watch Tyron Smith, the rookie, go up against the veteran DeMarcus Ware, very few things stop down practice. What I mean by that is very few things where you're over here doing something else, but you stop and be like, what they doing over there? And I can't tell you the amount of times where practice stopped down and we're supposed to be doing a drill over here as receivers and maybe some one-on-ones with the DBs, but we stopped, or you get your route in right quick and you go to the back of the line and you peek it across the field because offensive linemen, defensive linemen are doing one-on-ones, and you get to watch Tyron Smith go up against DeMarcus Ware. And you're talking about a show? Oh, a show. And D. Ware said it the other day. He was at the press conference of retirement. He said one time, Tyron Smith, and this is how strong and physical and just big that Tyron Smith was. He said they were kind of going through walkthrough. And so, you go through walkthrough and you come up to a guy, you kind of just do your thing and you kind of walk through. And, Tyron being a rookie, a little bit overzealous, a little bit excited, D Ware comes and Tyron just hits him. Boom. I mean, and D Ware said, that's when I knew how physically strong and imposing and powerful that this young kid was. He said, but I told Tyron, he said, if you ever hit me like that again, he said, you're going to have some problems on your hand. You know what I mean? But to watch those two guys work, and DeMarcus was a master at what he did. And there were days where he would just whoop up on a young player. But then he would whoop up on Tyron and then take him under the wing and tell him why. And show him how to get better with his hands and placement and all that kind of stuff and what the move looked like. But there were some days that old Tyron, he would whoop up on DeMarcus Ware. And you love that. You loved iron sharpening iron. And you see that joker. I remember one time Tyron, Orlando Scandrick was running like a blitz off the slot, right? Cat blitz, whatever you want to call it, off the slot, nickel blitz. Off the edge, and Tyron's eyes were inside. The blitz was coming from the outside. Tyron's eyes were inside, and then he scanned back and saw the blitz coming from the outside. And I'm not in Orlando Scandrick's mind, but I'm watching it, and I'm like, oh, Orlando definitely believes he got one. Like he's like, I'm gonna get this sack. I'm gonna create this chaos because they didn't see this blitz coming. And Orlando's, 5'9", 5'10", whatever it is, 185 pounds or whatever he is, 90 pounds. And he's coming full speed. And Tyron gets his head turned back outside and he catches the shoulder pad of Orlando. Boom. And I've never seen a man get knocked off his feet and thrown out of the club with a punch. He didn't grab him. He didn't throw him. He punched him, knocked him off his feet and out of the club. It was one of the most craziest things I've ever seen. And that's the kind of player Tyron Smith was. So Tyron, enjoy retirement. Go fish, go grill, go do whatever it is that your heart desires. You made enough money, and you gave the Cowboys a really great discount when you were here. You shouldn't have, but you did. You've made enough money. You've earned it. Enjoy retirement. Unfortunately, Tyron did not get a chance to hoist the Lombardi, and that list now has your name on it. But much respect to you and enjoy retirement. The Cowboys started voluntary workouts this week, and it is exactly what it sounds like. It is voluntary. You'll have some guys be there. You will have some guys not be there. One of the big topics that we've talked about this offseason, when the departure of DeMarcus Lawrence happened, Micah Parsons tweeted out, "It's my time now." And then you had DeMarcus Lawrence have his comments, and Micah just really being very vocal about wanting to be a leader and wanting to be that person that takes the next step in his leadership. We know where I stand on. You don't have to tell me that you're a leader. Just be a leader. And one of the things that we were all looking at, myself included, was with the contract extension looming for Micah Parsons, wanting to be the highest non-paid quarterback, wanting to be the vocal leader, or at least on defense, and one of the vocal leaders on this team. What'd he show? What'd he show for voluntary workouts? And he did. Monday when they started, he was in the building. Tuesday he was in the building, and he came in, and that's the first step for him, showing to be a good leader. And so that was good. That was good to see Micah there. Now I'm gonna be on recording saying this. If we get to minicamp and OTAs and the on the field stuff, because this is literally what it sounds like: voluntary workouts. It's you come in, you work out, you condition. The other part about it is coach will kind of leave some notes, just giving you kind of a player's inside behind the scenes. Because you can't interact with your coaches on the field. Like y'all can't be on the field doing stuff. That happens in mini camps and OTAs and things of that nature. But what a coach can do is like, hey, and this is when guys like Sanborn, who was under the regime of Eberflus, right? Middle linebacker comes in. Eberflus goes, hey, Sam, I want to start implementing some of the things that we're running. What coverages we're running? What does that look like? What does that sound like? Let's get lined up. Let's do a walkthrough. You don't have to go into anything extensive, but coaches would leave like little notes in lockers. So when you get done with your workout, if there's guys in the locker room, defense, all the guys that are here in defense, let's go outside for 30 minutes and walk through this stuff. This is what, cover 3, cover 2, this is what it is, what it looks like, so that when you get to the OTAs and the mini camps, that you kind of have a little bit of an understanding of what it is. And then you have guys like Sanborn who's able to kind of put guys in place and then give them an understanding and a little bit of a teaching of what it will look like or what coach wants it to look like. And so the leadership things come into play for Micah and others like that is being in the building when all this is happening. Now, I wouldn't kick his back in if he wasn't at, voluntary workouts. CeeDee Lamb's not at voluntary workouts. He's in Miami training. Most guys, depending on how you feel, you come, you don't. But I want to be on record as saying if they get to a point in time when they get to minicamp and OTAs and Micah still doesn't have a deal, I wouldn't show up if I was him. I'm not going to get on any one of my platforms and be like, Micah not a good leader because on the field stuff is where you can tear a knee, an ankle, something, an Achilles, and that can mess up your money. Working out, everybody's going to have to work out. If you get a freak accident working out, then such is life. But to do on-the-field activities, I've seen Sean Lee tear his ACL walking through in practice. Just doing a simple walkthrough, non-contact. We've seen Tyron Smith tear a hamstring from the bone. Doing non-contact on-the-field practice stuff. No one touched him. And so those things can easily happen. So I would not blame Micah Parsons one bit if he didn't show when it came time for OTAs and minicamp because his contract wasn't done. But I will say, so far, I see Brian Schottenheimer trying to build that culture thing. We talk about culture so much and so often about building the culture. What is the culture of the Cowboys? What does that look like? How does that grow? How does that get better? How do we have a better culture where we're not 53 different brands, but we're one brand with 53 people who are contributing to it? And day one of the voluntary workouts, Brian Schottenheimer had a crawfish boil. Shout out to Matt Pittman at Meat Church, who's an official sponsor of the Cowboys. He came out and did a crawfish boil where everybody came and ate after the workouts. The second day on Tuesday, they went paintballing. So trying to create this culture and this camaraderie within the locker room for these type of events. And it happens that way. These are the times where you build with that and guys are loving on each other and coming together, and you're just getting to know your teammates, guys who are free agents, guys who are taking the next steps. This is the way that you're doing it. So I commend Brian Schottenheimer for his willingness and his trying to build that team camaraderie, to build that team culture so that because this is going to be a tough season. Right now, Vegas has them over under 7.5 wins. 7.5 wins, that's a lot of losing. That's a lot of losing that you're going to have to be doing. And the only way that you're going to be able to overcome that is to get players to play at their peak performance, to get players who are average to play above average, a little bit of luck, and a whole lot of belief. A whole lot of belief to get out of that deep, deep, deep hole that you may be in this season, because a lot of people don't believe that you're going to be contending with the way that Washington looks and Philadelphia looks, that you're going to be contending for real deal playoff contention. But it's a long season. We're just in April. Things can happen. I don't wish injury on anybody, but if you've been around long enough, injuries pop up and that can derail a season for any team, right? Like for any team. I don't want to call names, but other quarterbacks and other top players from other teams can go down at any point in time, and that season looks a lot different than what we thought it would look. Look at the Cowboys. The season looked a lot different once Dak Prescott and company went out. You kind of really lost hope on what they would be able to do. But we shall see. We are a week away from the NFL draft. All of you know the Cowboys have the number 12 pick, and there's been a bunch of scenarios that have been tossed around about this pick. The good thing, here's a good thing and the bad thing about the Cowboys. The bad thing first is the Cowboys have so many needs. So many needs. So many needs. You name a position, they probably have a need there. Like running back, they have a need there. Serious need there. Receiver, they have a need there. Cornerback, they have a major need there. Linebacker, they have a need. Interior defensive line, they have a need. Another pass rusher, a need. Like they have needs all across the board. Offensive line, a need. The good news is that they have the needs, and any pick that they pick at number 12 will be a need fulfilled. Right? So like you have a lot of options, which is bad, but you have a lot of options, which is good, because now whatever falls to you at 12, you can look at that and go, okay, we got a player. We're not chaotic about where we should go because we don't have many needs. Yeah. Go best available on your board. And another scenario that has to be on the table. With this draft not having this draft doesn't have a lot of can't miss, no doubt, blue chip talent. I would say Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter, Ashton Genty. The first two for sure, right? I think Shedeur. I think Travis Hunter, I think Abdul Carter, surefire blue chip. They would be in the top 5 conversation in any draft. A loaded draft, they'd be in the top conversation. This draft doesn't have that, which means a scenario that comes into play is at 12, do the Cowboys consider trading back? Now, in order to trade back, trading back is not a one-way street. You need a dancing partner. You need to have somebody who is in the later numbers, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, that are looking to jump up and grab a piece. That, again, it goes back to what I was saying earlier. There aren't many I gotta have this dude pieces. So some teams may say, I don't want to give up the later capital to move up and to go get that can't miss piece. You're going to have a lot of dudes when you start talking about getting into the 15 to 20 to 25 range. You're going to find a lot of dudes who in some boards across the league will have second round grades. But because the talent level isn't so good, they're in the first round. But they could really be on a normal draft that's loaded with talent, be second round picks. Does that make sense? And then as you get later in the first round, those people may have some borderline late second round grades on players tipping the nose of third round. That's just the way the talent has fallen this year in this draft. But the one you had Mel Kiper, who has been doing this draft and mock drafts for decades. For weeks and weeks, he had the Cowboys, Omarion Hampton, running back at number 12. And then he changed. And this has been the resounding pick that a lot of people have begun to put on their draft boards, that the Cowboys will take a receiver. And for a long time, it was Tetairoa McMillan, wide receiver from Arizona. Big body, 6'4", 220 pounds, 50-50 ball catcher. And that has been the pick that people have been saying. A week away from the draft, it's changed on a lot of people's draft boards. And then went from being Tetero McMillan to being Texas wide receiver Matthew Golden. Matthew Golden, Tetero McMillan, Emeka Ibuka, Luther Burden. If the Cowboys picked any one of those guys, to me, this is Jesse Holley, none of those dudes, Tetero, Emeka, Luther, Matthew, none of those dudes, in my personal wide receiver opinions, are wide receiver number ones. If you drafted any of those dudes and did not have CeeDee Lamb, they couldn't. I don't believe they can do CeeDee Lamb work. I just don't. Pick one. I don't believe any of them could do CeeDee Lamb work. So it isn't like you're having Randy Moss in the mix of this. You don't have Justin Jefferson in the mix of this. You don't have Malik Neighbors in the mix of these type of players. You have 1Bs, 2s, wide receiver 2s. So you don't, in my opinion, there isn't such a wide gap that if you took either one of those dudes, that you're like, oh my God, there's no generational talent. Neither one of these receivers are generational talent, can't miss prospects. So if you took Teroa, if you took Matthew, if you took Emeka, if you took Luther, I think, do I have preference in what fits for the Cowboys? Yes. And the quarterback and the offense, yes, I have preference there. But you can't miss with one of these guys being your wide receiver number 2. That part I'm confident in. So if the Cowboys decide to go wide receiver, like which a lot of people are thinking they are, not mad at that at all. But that seems to be the loud conversation for the Cowboys at 12. I thought maybe offensive line would be an option, but the Cowboys literally, by the time that you're seeing this on Friday, I'm doing it on a Thursday, they just signed another offensive lineman. This is a guy who's been in the league for a while, Hakeem Adonijay. He's been in the league for a while, hasn't started many games, but a serviceable player. Another offensive lineman, swing offensive lineman, can play inside, can play outside. They're trying. He's from here? Oh, he's from Garland. Okay. That's cool. He, again, he isn't the savior. He isn't. But you add that to the list. That goes to the Robert Jones. That goes to the signing of Dakota Shepley. They signed a bunch of offensive linemen, another one to the mix. They're trying to at least get some depth, give these offensive coaches something to work with, because they're saying, hey, one of these got to work. One of these guys got to work. We haven't probably given up on Tyler Guyton just yet, so we're going to give him some reps. But between Awesome Richards and Tyler Guyton and all the other guys that we're going to bring in, they're going to create some competition at that tackle spot. I think both tackle spots at that right guard spot, and they're hoping that with all the guys in it that they find a combination that works for them. So at 12 in the draft, receiver sounds like that's the way they're going to go. But it's draft day. It could be wild. We don't know what's going to happen. They might go rush in. They might look at a guy like Shamar Stewart from your Aggies, A&M, Tay, right? Have all the physical tools, looks like part, but productivity's not there. They're just going off of, man, he meets all of the physical standards, run, jump, all of the kind of nonsense. But we'll see. It's gonna be interesting. I don't think the Cowboys. I hope I don't have to eat my words. I don't think the Cowboys could miss on a pick because they have a need everywhere. So if they decide to go rush in, great. They had a need there. They decide to go, just don't go running back. Don't go running back in the first round. If who's there? I know people are going to kill me for saying it, but If Genty's there, I'm looking for a trade. I mean, I would look for a trade down partner. Who wants to come up here and get Genty? Now I control. Now I get that too. I get that first round and that second round, and I can go get Judkins. I can go get Omarion. Maybe I can go get Travion. I can go get a bunch of other guys in the second round with that pick. I got 2 picks now, and I help my team become better. You know what I'm saying? I know that there's a gap between who Genty is and the rest of those guys are, but if I can go get another premium second round pick, my team is better. My team is better. I'm sorry. My team is better. If I can now get a second round pick and I can go get a Judkins and a Alfred Collins, and then in the third round I go get a corner, or go get a corner and go get a defensive guy the third round, my team gets better. I just think overall. I'm thinking overall. I know you guys are thinking plus player. I'm thinking overall what I can do with that extra pick that if he was there and I decided to trade back with somebody and got their second. I'm just saying. I'm looking at the total scheme of this. If I can get a first, 2 seconds, if I get 2 first round pick, 2 second round picks, and a third round pick, that's 4 premium spots right there. My team can get better quick if those spots hit. So I don't know. But I think the Cowboys would go receiver at 12. I'm pretty confident that's where they're going to go. And if they don't, they go rush. If they go offensive lineman, if they have a corner that they like, then I'm okay with that. I'm okay with those picks. But I just know that you don't, after the 4 receivers that I named, Luther Burton, Tetero McMillan, Matthew Golden, and Emeka Beuckers, after those 4, you start getting into the realm of maybe some of these players are more closer to Jalen Tolbert level than being closer to CeeDee Lamb level. And I don't need any more Jalen Tolberts. I got enough of those. I do. I need more guys that's going to be closer to CeeDee Lamb's level than Jalen Tolbert's level. But we shall see. The draft will be a week away, and we'll recap it next week, and we'll see what the Cowboys do. They need it. They haven't drafted well the last couple of years. They need a hit. They need a hit. They need multiple hits. They need to swing for the fences and then all to be Barry Bonds type home runs when we're all said and done with this draft next week, because it's gonna be downhill from here if it isn't. All right, man, let's go to around the sports world. We'll keep it right here in Dallas. This is literally what I wrote down. Dallas Mavs, you're dead. If any of you have been keeping up with the Dallas Mavericks saga after the Luka Doncic trade to the Los Angeles Lakers between Nico Harris and Patrick Dumont, who owns the team, it has been pure chaos. And every time we think we're turning the corner, turning the page of the nonsense and recklessness and just sheer, utter stupidity, we are surprised with more stupidity. The trade happens and people are dealing and mourning with that. Then you think about, all right, we're kind of getting over it a little bit, settling down. Then Luka comes to town and he opens up a can of whoop at, I almost said it. A whoop butt on you. Almost came out. 45 points, and now the fans are more irritated. And in between that, there were just things that were said by Nico and Patrick Dumont, and they're pissing the fans off. The fans hate it. They raise season ticket prices. Like they just can't get it right. And it gets worse. For whatever reason, Patrick Dumont kind of forces Nico Harrison to have this press conference. And not a regular press conference where he kind of faces the media. Because there's been this wanting to, Nico Harris, you gotta face the people. He showed his face when Luka came back, and it was nonstop fire Nico, boos, everything. And then they read the room like a 2-year-old who's been handed an encyclopedia. Just bad. Just bad. Patrick Dumont and Nico Harris comes up with this bright idea that we're going to have this press conference, but not just any old press conference. This is going to be one of those press conferences where we control the narrative. It's in a hidden room in the AAC. You cannot record. I don't believe you can even ask questions, or you can ask questions, but it wasn't you responding or whatever it was. It was a select, hand-picked reporters that could be in there. They did it at the same time that practice was going on. People didn't know. Like, it was like this whole hush-hush, secret agent operative meeting press. It was so bad. And then when you started getting the transcribed language from the interview, Nico just keeps digging this hole and digging this hole. And he makes an absurd comparison. He talked about this trade for Luka going to LA for Anthony Davis and some trail mix. He compared it to Monte Ellis and Andrew Bogut. Who did that? The CEO. Dumont. No. Waltz. Well, yeah, Waltz. Okay. The ownership group. This is bad. They just compared it to that, and then Nico kept talking about, when asked, questions, defense wins championships. Defense wins championships. Defense wins championships. It just couldn't get worse. And then on top of that, you've already pissed off a fan base who loved and adored, and some even worshipped, Luka Doncic. Then you piss off Dirk. Now, listen, I'm not from Texas. I don't have a lot of the ties that people from Texas have, but I'm aware. I'm aware the love that people have and the respect and admiration and the statue, right? What is it? Loyalty never fades. Brought this city a championship. You think that trading away Luka made these folks mad? You mess around and make Dirk hate you, they may burn the AAC down. They might burn the AAC down. Seriously. And it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. And it's going to be crazy if the Mavs keep winning. They had a play-in game against the Memphis Grizzlies. If they win, they're in. If the Mavs keep going on and on and on, because you just think to yourself, they're not going to stop putting their foot in their mouth. The Mavs, and I love basketball. It is my favorite sport, hand down. But I don't think I've ever, on any level, in any sport, seen a group of men, whether it's the CEO, the owners, the general managers, whoever the hell it is, not be able to read a room the way that these guys have been not able to read a room. It has been utterly insane. And they are killing the spirits of the fan base. And that's why I say, when I say Dallas Mavericks, you're dead, because you're killing yourselves. Like, you're committing franchise suicide. Every time you speak, you just reopen those wounds and you pour more and more and more and more salt on those wounds, and you just keep loading back up the gun and shooting yourself in the foot, that you're committing franchise suicide. It's okay, you've made the trade, you've done a bad thing. But here's the point when you kind of got to come with, like, head bowed, hat in hand and saying, all right, let's try to somehow, some way formulate some sympathy for this fan base that is, and I don't say this lightly. I do not say this lightly. Hate you. Hate you. Right? But you just keep doubling down and tripling down and double dog daring and triple dog daring and saying the absolute craziest thing ever. And it is franchise suicide. I don't know, like, I support the Mavs. I like winning. I never wish for losing. I like winning. I like to compete. I like winning. But I don't know if losing isn't the best formula for the Mavs. Simply because the season's just over with. Like, it's over, and the fan base kind of can somehow, some way just redirect their focus maybe over to the Rangers, maybe over to the Stars, if they begin their playoff push, maybe getting themselves focused back on the Cowboys and just not having to hear, watch, whatever basketball from the Dallas Mavericks, so that hate continues to just linger. You know, like, kind of almost get out of sight, out of mind. Like, just get to the offseason. Let us refocus our mind. Let us not hate you anymore. Let us not have to see you anymore, read about you. Now, it'll suck if the Lakers make this run and you have to watch Luka through the playoffs and they make it to the finals and they win a championship. I don't think they will. It'll suck even more because the fans will have to hear about it and watch it. But I just feel like you got to get this. You got to end this thing. Like, you have to end it because you just cannot get out of your own way. I don't. You know that meme where remember when the Popeyes chicken sandwich came out and they were running those Popeyes chicken workers down, and it's that one meme where the lady, she's sitting on she like this, she like, that's gotta be the PR people for the Mavs. They gotta be exhausted. Because they're like, every time we try to take a positive spin at this thing, they open their mouth. And it just gets worse and worse and worse. So, man, Nico, Dumont, Adelson, y'all are committing franchise suicide. Like, y'all are dead men walking, in the sense of the more you keep talking, the more you keep walking around saying things, the more and more and more and more and more you're killing your franchise. Maybe that's what y'all want. I don't know. Maybe you want them to hate you so much that you move the team. I know that they said that wasn't an option, but for those who believe that, I can't tell them that they're wrong. And maybe you're trying to make them hate you so much, and you become the victim and you say, well, you know what? I've been hated so much. They don't come to the games anymore. The attendance is way down. They don't support the Mavs. They don't love us. They don't love what we're doing. The days of the Mavericks being a Western Conference competing opponents are dead, so we're moving. I don't know if that's the plan, but if it is, you are off to a hell of a start, my boy. You guys are doing an A+ job of making people not want to support your product. And if killing off the fan base is what you want to do, if that was a part of some sort of secretive narrative plan, and you brought in Nico to be your out of town shooter, to be your assassin for make this happen, you're off to a fantastic start. You traded Luka. You're pissing off and making Dirk mad. I don't know what else. You're batting 1,000. You are batting 1,000 right now. If that was a narrative, I don't know if that's a narrative, but if it is, you're winning. You're winning if that was the case. If you wanted to make people hate you, so that you can play victim and say, see, they don't love us. They do not want us here. They don't want to support. We're out. Great job. All right, man, let's move on. You guys know I like a little messy Jesse. Y'all know that. Y'all know I like spicy. Y'all know I like messy. Y'all know I like petty. Let's go down to Tennessee. Tennessee Vol starting quarterback. I cannot pronounce his last name. His name's Nico too. Nico Iamaleava. I'm just going to go with that. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Supposedly his people, and this is why you have to be very careful about who you have in your inner circle. His people felt like they wanted, and this is why college football is a mess. NCAA, you have nobody to blame but yourself. You greedy, selfish, stingy bastards. For years and years and years and years, you cheated, you connived, you hoodwinked and bamboozled and kept money from the players, and you stuffed your pockets and universities' pockets, and you made players play for a scholarship when they were worth so much more. You could have saw this like you were Blockbuster. You were Blockbuster, the NCAA. You were Blockbuster when Netflix was trying to come around and say, hey, guys, we have this concept. You want to partner with us? And you didn't evolve. And now what has happened is your system, your structure is broken. It is destroyed. And now college football is the wild, wild west. And you're getting ready to find yourself out of a real good product. Tennessee Vol quarterback, he felt like, we need more money. Was asking for upwards of $4 million. Now, I don't know how much of this was Nico's or Nico's handlers, a.k.a. his father. But when they weren't getting what they wanted, they started shopping Nico around. Word got back to Josh Heupel, who's the head coach. Nico decided that his people told him that you're going to miss practice. A holdout. Basically what it was. It's a holdout, hold in, whatever you want to call it. Missed the morning of spring football practice before their spring game. Josh Heupel said, we're done. Nico's out. And he was shopping himself all around. Even my alma mater, University of North Carolina, was attached to him. He did not get what he wanted. He just signed with UCLA. And they're saying right now, after taxes in California, that old Nico will probably make around $900,000. So he went from potentially making a little bit more than $2-3 million, asking for $4 million.
Technically, it's not done yet either, UCLA.
It's not done yet?
It's
pending.
Yes.
But all signs say that he's going to sign with UCLA unless something wild happens. And I don't know if that's a win for him. You left SEC football, you left Tennessee football. That's a big product. What's even more interesting is, I don't know if I should take his word for it, but Urban Meyer. We all know Urban Meyer, hands in your pants, Urban Meyer. He said that the Tennessee Vols may look back on this and say, we're screwed. He says when you got to play in football games in the SEC and you don't have a quarterback, when you got to play Florida and you got to play some of these other schools and Alabamas and the Georgias and the Texas of the world, and you don't have a quarterback, Josh Heupel, I know that you took a stand and you stood on business. You stood on business 10 toes down, Josh Heupel. It ain't going to look good when you got 100,000 volunteer fans looking up and saying, Florida just beat the dog crap out of you. Alabama or Georgia or Texas just beat the poop out you because you don't have a quarterback. That's where we've come. That's where we've come in college football. Josh Heupel said he's done. He's done. He's dead to me. He's dead to us. But Urban Myers might have a point. He may have a point. You can stand 10 toes down. But if you don't have a quarterback in the game of football, and I don't care what level it is on, high school, college, professionals, you don't have a quarterback, you're really don't have a chance to win. And in the SEC, where it's the most competitive conference in all of football, where you go through a gauntlet of LSU, Texas, Georgia, Alabama, Florida. I mean, you could Arkansas, you Vanderbilt, you name it. It's tough competition week in and week out. You don't have a quarterback, you ain't winning. You're not winning many football games. So we'll see what Nico and how it ends up. Him signing with UCLA and how that works out for both parties. What that looks like for Nico on the West Coast, what it looks like for Tennessee without having a starting quarterback. Continuing on the messy Jesse note of dudes and players asking for more money and coaches saying, hell nah. We take our messiness to Syracuse. Syracuse has a wide receiver named Trebor Pena. He is the starting and leading wide receivers for the Syracuse Orangemen. Trebor had a pretty good season this year. And he thought to himself, now's my time. I need to cash out. And he went and said, what y'all were giving me ain't enough. Now, I don't know if it was him or his representations, but whoever, either he and or those who represented him, went to coach and said, my boy need more paper. And coach said, when you say more paper, how much we talking? And they said, $2 million. And Fran Brown said, you are out of your $2 million mind. Ain't no way in hell. And I heard the audio, and I didn't know where Fran Brown was from, but I heard him on one of the Syracuse shows discussing and talking about this. And listening to him, I said to myself, one, he is from the East Coast. And then two, he got to be from New York and New Jersey by the terms that he used. I went and looked it up. Of course, he's from Jersey, Camden, New Jersey. Now, if you know anything about Jersey, if you know anything about Camden, New Jersey, Camden about that life. Folks from Camden about that life. And Coach Fran, if you remember, Coach Fran notably talked about when they lost, talked about not deserving a shower. And then he said to tell Dabo Sweeney when they beat, who did they beat, Tay? They beat somebody at the end of the year, and it got Clemson into a bowl game. Doesn't matter who they beat, but he said on the podium, he said, Dabo, you're welcome. Thank me. I helped you get into the college football playoffs. But Coach Fran Brown said, hell nah. He said, now, if we said the only receiver in the country right now that's worth $2 million, he said, hey, little homie over there at was it Miami? It was Miami? Okay. But Coach Fran said the only receiver right now that's worth $2 million is little homie at Ohio State. Little homie who he's talking about, Jeremiah Smith, freshman at Ohio State. That if, let's be clear, if Jeremiah Smith was eligible for the draft this year, you would talk about he is the number one wide receiver. He would be a top 5, definitely for sure, top 10 pick. And he wouldn't be on the list with Tetero McMillan, Matthew Golden, Emeka Ibuka, and Luther Burton. It would be Jeremiah Smith and then the rest of them jokers. He's a guy that you talk about being wide receiver number 1. And so let me just give you numbers for context. Trebor Pena, he's asking for $2 million. His stats last year, 84 catches, 941 yards, 9 touchdowns. Is that worth $2 million? Coach Fran Brown says, can't do it, won't do it. Can't coach him, can't coach with him, can't play with him. Put that in context. Jeremiah Smith on the Ohio State Buckeyes, a much bigger program than Ohio State, right? I'm sorry, Syracuse. 76 catches, 1,315 yards, 15 touchdowns, and a natty. If he worth $2 million, I don't know if Pena, he worth $2 million. And that's what Coach Fran Brown said. He said, nah, you can jump in the portal, my boy, because only Lil Home. And then he said, He said two people that's worth $2 million. He said, little homie from Ohio State, Jeremiah Smith. He said, if NCAA want to let Travis Hunter come back to college and give him some eligibility, he said, Travis Hunter, he said, I'll give him some of my paycheck. He said, I'll give Travis Hunter some of my paycheck if he wants. He said, but he said, I just can't do it. He said, I can't see me giving a wide receiver $2 million. And I'm going to be honest with Coach. I don't know if I can give this dude. I don't know if I can give 84 catches, 941 yards, and 9 touchdowns, $2 million. That ain't a $2 million player to me. He might be right. Little homie from Ohio State, that 1,300, 15 touchdowns, and a natty, that might be worth $2 million. That might be worth $2 million. But we're seeing these coaches are kind of, they doing the PJ Washington, putting 10 toes down, and they saying, we ain't giving up the bread. We ain't giving up the bread. Everybody ain't worth the bread, and they're making a stance. Now, how would that play out for Syracuse? Time will tell. Syracuse, how would that play out for Tennessee? Time will tell. I think receivers you can kind of make do without maybe not having one. I know for sure you can't make do without having a quarterback. But maybe we're starting to see a shift in the coaches and programs saying, we're not going to let you bully us into giving you more money that you probably aren't worth. All right, moving on, keeping it in the college ranks. Colorado. Deion. Y'all know I love the Buffs. I said I was an honorary member last year. I love what Deion is doing in Colorado, what he's turned that program into, the attention that he's gotten there. But I think you got a little too much dip in your chip. Deion, you got a little bit too much dip in your chip. A little too much dip on your chip. Just released a couple of days ago, the Colorado Buffaloes will be retiring not one, but 2 jersey numbers. Deion, my boy, I think you got this one wrong. I think you got this one half wrong. I think you halfway right, you halfway wrong. I'm not gonna make a foot joke with you, but you got 1 foot in right and you got 1 foot in wrong. Okay? You playing the hokey pokey and you turn yourself around. Colorado is retiring 2 numbers. Jersey number 12, which is Travis Hunter, who was the best player in college football this year, Heisman winner, will be a consensus top 5 pick in this draft of anywhere from 2. I think 1 is pretty much solidified that's going to be Cam Ward. But after that, you can Travis Hunter can go anywhere. He may be one of the first players in a long time in the league to play both ways at a very high rate. He was special. He won the Biletnikoff. He should have won the I don't know what the award is for DB. He should have won that. The Thorpe Award, yes. He should have won the Otis Thorpe Award. He should have had a clean sweep. He should have had Thorpe, Biletnikoff, Heisman. He had Biletnikoff and Heisman. How you have the Heisman and the Biletnikoff and not giving to the Thorpe, that's college football for you. I can get behind you retiring Travis Hunter's number. I can get behind that. Your last, did Rashawn Salam win the Heisman? Yes. Your last Heisman winner and your last top draft pick of that caliber was Rashawn Salam, running back, number 19, and his jersey was retired. So I can get behind the Travis Hunter. I can. I think it's a little bit quick. Like, give it a little bit of time. Like, the boy ain't even been drafted yet. The boy ain't even been drafted, and y'all doing it in the spring. I think it's a little quick. But I can get behind the Travis Hunter number 12 jersey being immortalized in Buffalo football history. Can get with it. So I think you're right there. A little fast, but right nonetheless. Here's where you're wrong. And you may not feel that way because there is love there. There's real love there. Shedeur Sanders' number 2 jersey is also going to be retired. Shedeur did not win a Heisman. Shedeur wasn't first team All-American at any point in time in his college career. At least at the Power 5 level. He had okay numbers. I think Shedeur is a really good player. Let me get that out. I think Shedeur is a really good player. Having the last name Sanders definitely polarized him even more. Being the son of Deion Sanders definitely polarized him a lot more. He was a part of turning 2 programs around. I think Shedeur helped turn Jackson State around and give them notoriety. I think he definitely helped turn the Colorado program around and give them notoriety that we're even talking about it. I don't think anything that he has done is retired jersey worthy. I think this is you being the head coach and you having the power and the say-so to do so, and so you're doing it. I don't think Shedeur Sanders is, and I don't want this to be a knock or a tear down of Shedeur. We're talking about jersey numbers that never will be worn again in program history. I don't know if Shedeur has done enough in his time at Colorado for you to Mount Rushmore, immortalize, forever say that this jersey can no longer be worn in Colorado history. The numbers just don't say so. The accolades don't say so. He's not like, Kellen Moore, where he had 60 wins in college or 55 wins in college, or he passed, for 1 million yards, or he was a Heisman Trophy winner or a Heisman Trophy finalist, or he took the world by storm. He took his team to the college football playoffs and they won meaningful bowl games and they won a championship. None of that. I think you got to be in that conversation of, yes, Travis Hunter is immortalized in college football history. He's a Heisman winner. That's a very, very select and unique group. He has done things in college football that we have not seen done in a very long time, if ever. He stood out. He was the best among the best. And so I get it. I get if you want to retire a Heisman Trophy winner's jersey. Cool. I get that's baby boy. I don't think his jersey should be retired. Now, who the hell am I, right? Who the hell are you, Jesse Holley? I'm nobody in the regards of me telling you who jersey to retire. I don't think Shedeur's impact on the college football landscape and in Colorado history. Yes, he's helped bring notoriety there, but retired jersey? That was a bit much, right? I think that's a bit much. But nonetheless, Shedeur will have his number retired along with Travis Hunter at the Colorado's spring game this year. So you'll never see anyone else wear number 12, and you'll never see anybody else wear number 2 because it will go up in the rafters forever. I want to get into the messiness of Brandon Jennings and Pat Bev, but I'll keep letting that unfold. The Dallas Wings, they drafted Paige Beuckers. Welcome to the city, Paige Beuckers. I think this is going to do wonders for the landscape of women's basketball in general, but also the Wings basketball in Dallas. I think this is going to do numbers. They've already sold out the AAC. We know that they're at the UTA. UTA, you know your days are numbered with me, what y'all did to me when I went to the UTA basketball game. Y'all cut me out the picture. I ain't going to forget that. But they play their home games there until they get the reunion arena set up downtown. But they've sold out, I believe, 2 or 3 games at the AAC where they'll take on either the Aces and the Indiana. Now, I know that we always don't want to go to this, but the Great White Hope is in town. Paige Beuckers is in town. She's a better, like, we're talking about his pure skills. She's better than Caitlin Clark, like a basketball player. She's a better all-around player than Caitlin Clark. So Dallas has its superstar. It has its female version of Luka Doncic. Now, I don't know who owns the Wings, but they're probably not going to trade her away. But you will hear and talk more about Wings basketball because Paige Beuckers, Lady Buckets, as my boy Clarence Hill, he's going to hate me for that. Clarence Hill calls her Lady Buckets. So welcome to the city, Paige Beuckers. I look forward to seeing what they do. I look forward to seeing what she does, what she brings to the game. Oddly enough, she already has signed a deal with Unrivaled, the 3-on-3 basketball that kind of keeps the players in the States. Her contract, she has a 3-year deal with Unrivals. Her first year in that league that happens after the season, and it's a great league because it keeps players local. It keeps them not having to travel to Turkey and Istanbul and, Pakistan and Kazakhstan to play basketball and to make a living. Because her rookie deal, she's going to make $78,000 a year. That's what Paige is going to make to play professional basketball in the WNBA. Her first year of her 3-year deal with Unrivaled, right? Unrivaled? I don't want to mess that name up. Yeah. Her first year is more than she would make in her entire rookie contract. Right? Hear what I'm saying? She has a 3-year contract with Unrivals. I believe a 4-year contract with the WNBA. In year 1 of her Unrivals contract, it will exceed the total compensation of her 4-year contract in the WNBA. That's crazy. But it's 3-on-3 basketball, and they've created, Nafisha Collier and others have created a really good in-state basketball level so the ladies can stay in-state, and Paige Beuckers will be one of the faces of that league. They're still trying to get Caitlin Clark to be a part of it and Asia Wilson to be a part of it, but it did well last year. What are you about to say, Tay?
Is this a response to Ice Cube trying to sign Caitlin Clark to the Big Three?
I don't think so, but she turned that down as well. But I know Unrivals had wanted something because they didn't want players to keep having to go all overseas and across the country to play ball, create something that they can play right in here. And it worked. It worked last year. So hopefully it continues to work this year. All right, man, that's going to be it for your boy, Jay Holley. Remember, you can follow us on all platforms, Facebook, Instagram. Follow me on Twitter at Mr. Fourth and Long. Remember, you can see us on YouTube, on Spotify and Apple. Tell a friend to tell a friend about Unfiltered with Jesse Holley, where you're going to get the raw, uncut truth of how I see things each and every day, all across the sports landscape. And I'll end on this. Remember, create time for enjoyment because the time for pain creates it itself. It's going to be in your life whether you want it to or not. So you better create some time for enjoyment because pain is creeping around the next corner waiting to interrupt what you have going on, man. All right, that's it for your boy, Jay Holley. Remember, eliminate the contingencies. I'm out.